Patty, I figured it might be appropriate. My first video on YouTube here was a video about all the things I wish I knew about rabbits. I think that was my first video. I'm pretty sure it was. Even if it wasn't, I made a video at one point about all the things I wish I knew about rabbits. And we got out of rabbits. Now, do I regret doing rabbits? No. No, right now it just doesn't fit into what we're doing. If we weren't doing the cattle and we weren't doing the pigs and we were just doing smaller stuff, like if we didn't have all the other things, I'd probably still be doing rabbits. The rabbits, they're better than chickens, but they're worse than chickens. Now, the reason I say that, so we do chickens. We do chickens. We actually got rid of all of our old laying hens and got some new laying hens, right? And the idea being, we were maintaining a lot and not seeing much, so we'll pass them off to somebody else who's got no problem letting them free range. Here, I don't want to let them free range. Out here, I let my roosters free range, and that's because I can eat them. So I just, if I want some chicken, I can just go grab a rooster at some point and process it, and I've got chicken for the evening. Or for lunch, or whatever. But there's a few reasons I didn't like the idea of free-range hens, and the biggest one was the egg collection. I don't like the idea of, I find an egg one day in a different spot, and I don't know how long it's been there. I don't like the idea of me searching for something underneath the house, and I find an egg. I don't like the idea of my dog eating the eggs around the house, or any of my other dogs. So for us, it made sense to keep them in a coop. And we got to the point where there was quite a few chickens in that coop. I think we were up to 27 at one point in that coop. We dialed things back. We bought a few turkeys. We started off some new chicks in the beginning of the year. And so now I think we've got 5 laying hens. And for us, that's fine. 5 laying hens. We've got one fancy little rooster. He's a little Polish, so he's got that little pom-pom head. It's cool. But the chickens, you give them a big water trough, you throw a hose in it, and then it's good for a week. The rabbits, you feed and water them every day. You have to refill every dish. And it was a task. It was like half an hour just to do the rabbits. And if you're in a rush or whatever, they just got missed. And I saw the writing on the wall coming up pretty quick. All of a sudden, there was having newborn here, me going into work, and then having all these other things going on at the same time, like doing the hay, having more cows, and the cows aren't leaving. I love the cows, and if I wish I could have more of them. I'm probably going to buy more than I should, but it is what it is. I love the cows. The nice part about the cows is they're worth a decent amount of money. So even if I decide I need to get out of cows, I can sell them and make a small profit because they just keep on getting bigger. And even if it isn't 1-to-1, they're bigger enough that I am making a decent profit. I was crunching numbers this morning, and just on the Texas Longhorns, I can make $1,500 each. Here's what it is. It's fantastic. And I almost think a guy should probably just sell them and make the fucking money, but that's not what we're doing. We're trying to make more cows. So that's what we're going to do. But I wanted to explain why we got out of the rabbits. And I touched on it there. It's a chore. I mean, we contemplated doing the idea of going to the colony, but as it was, every once in a while, we would end up with a rabbit with the sniffles. And I'd have to doctor it, and it would be fine. And no matter what way I cut it, it was going to be another chore on top of everything. And then looking on Google says 12 weeks, right, to harvest a rabbit. And it wasn't really the case. I had a lot of troubles getting rabbits up to a harvestable weight by 12 weeks. And I mean, I could have absolutely processed them at 12 weeks. I just wasn't happy with the size. And that's basically what happens. Google sits here and says these Cornish cross chickens are ready to go at 8 to 12 weeks. Well, mine are currently 9. I don't want to eat any of them. Given I've also trying to change length on that, but that's a decision I made. But reasons why we got out of the rabbits, this is just a big chore, and it got to a point where I haven't processed a single rabbit all year. All year I haven't processed anything. And a large part of the reason is the time. And a large part of the reason why I don't have as much time is because I've decided I wanted to focus on bigger things. So we got more sheep, we got more cows. We dialed back on the more hobbyist stuff, but is it a mistake? No. If we were staying more small scale, or my kids in the future, if they want to do rabbits again, perfectly fine, just as long as they keep care of them. And that'll be, if they want to do that, they can do that. Absolutely, I have no problem with that. But the problem was, is it got to the point where they were getting left behind. A super busy day, and I find out at 10 o'clock at night, rabbits didn't get fed or watered today. Oh, man. I'm already laying in bed. So you get up, you go and you feed them middle of the night, right? If anything went wrong during the day, you got no idea. And that was it. It got to the point where it happened often enough that the rabbits started to suffer. And I doubled down on them, made sure they got a bunch of food and water. It was like I was on top of them. I was sacrificing a lot of time making sure I was getting on top of them all over again. Because that's what we do as a partnership, right? Like we work together. If she misses something, she lets me know and I go and I do it. If I miss something, I let her know. She goes and she can make up some of the space. And I got into the point where I was happy with them, and we got them into new homes because I wasn't going to be maintainable. I wasn't going to be able to do that throughout the year. It was just too much on the plate, and that's it. We had to trim the fat. And the rabbits not processing anything in the year and then having all the time that we spent on them didn't make any sense. So we did the same thing with the chickens. We was seeing like no eggs for weeks on end. Meanwhile, they're going through a bag of feed every week. And then every once, so it got to a point where we were seeing a couple here and there, but like we were down to about, I think, 21 birds, and we were seeing a few eggs. But now with brand new fresh birds just started laying, I'm seeing 3 or 4 eggs a day. So I'm not going to complain about that. And the feed cost is way less. Makes a lot more sense now. So, I mean, I know I kind of went off the rails with what I wanted to talk about, but we're not going to do the rabbits for quite a while. I think that's going to be one of those things. We're just going to do the Cornish crosses or the Red Range or Freedom Rangers. I'd like to do the Freedom Rangers, actually. I'd really like to try them, but we don't have anyone locally here that can get them. I'm going to do some more digging because we did the Cornish crosses this year, and I'm going to do some more digging. I'm going to try and find some because I would really like to try those. They seem a little bit nicer, but yeah. Anyways, that being said, like I said, the rabbits, they didn't make much sense. I can't buy a rabbit for $2.85, but I can buy a day-old chick for $2.85. And that's why people end up doing chickens over rabbits. As much as I love the rabbits, and they were really good, and like a rabbit and a chicken isn't even the same thing. They're comparable because they fill the same niche on the farm, but when you're eating them in the eating experience, 2 different things, right? A rabbit stew is freaking wild. A rabbit stir fry, freaking wild. If you ever get the chance, take your hindquarters and your legs. Keep your back straps. Use your back straps for the more important meals, the stuff that you like to eat, like literally a back strap on mashed potatoes with a little bit of gravy. Oh la la la, that's delicious. But you take some of your more smaller, sinewy stuff, and you throw that in the meat grinder. Make yourself some spaghetti and meatballs with it. Rabbit meatballs are so good. That was by far the number one thing that I liked making out of my rabbits was rabbit meatballs, and it's still like they're my favorite meatball. And I would contemplate the idea of buying rabbits again in the future, but I don't want to breed rabbits anymore. I mean, I would if my kids wanted to do it, we'll do it. But if I decide one year, I just like maybe it's next year, and I decide, you know what, I'm gonna harvest some rabbits for the fall or some of the spring. What I'll do is I'll go and I'll go to some local producers. I'll keep some cages around and some of the equipment, and I would basically do whatever, 4 rabbits, 5 rabbits, whatever I think I need or want. Do a handful of them, raise them on, process them, be done. Don't hold anything over the winter. Don't hold anything over the hot summer. Nothing like that. Then you don't have to have as much of the facilities. You don't have to suck up a bunch of the time when everything else needs it. So that's the idea. I mean, even processing rabbits into November, that would be good. That'd be a good gig. If you could fit something in after your beef, or after your beef and after your chickens, having something you're growing on, and maybe that's what I do even this year. Maybe I look at buying 3 or 4 of them. But yeah, that's the idea, and that's the thing. That's why we got out of it. Anyways, see you guys in the next one.